Verb is a verb to indicate that the subject or the sentence is not directly responsible for an activity for someone or something else to do the work.
Now look at our paper. There are some kinds of causative verbs. The first, have or has or had. The second, make or met. The third, get or got. The fourth, let. The fifth, allow. The sixth, permit. The seventh, help or help. The eighth, ask or ask. And the last is want.
Verb has two forms. The first is active. The object active suppose the people do something. It's mean that is object to do the work ordered by subject. Usually the object is the person. And the second is the passive. The object passive suppose the thing done by object active, and its object into the things ordered to be done by the subject.
I will explain to you the first kind of causative verbs. It is have and make. In active, the formula of have and make is subject plus causative verb plus object active plus verb infinitive plus object passive. Causative verb in here based on tenses. So, if you use the simple present tense, so you have to make causative verb in simple present tense. And the difference of have and make is have means that give someone the responsibility to do something, while make means that force someone to do something. An example of have and make is teacher have their student do their homework. In here, the tenses is simple present tense, so we use have in causative verbs, but do here bare infinitive. And the second example is my boss makes me get him coffee. Makes here causative verb. This sentence use simple present tense. In here, my boss is subject, makes is causative verbs, me here object as active, and get is bare infinitive. Passive form in have and make, the formula is subject plus causative verb plus object as passive plus verb 3, because all the sentence, if we use passive sentence, actually the verb is verb 3. For example is the first, Mrs. Crane had her house painted. This is use simple past tense, so had use the verb too. And the second is my boss makes all the document finish. My boss here as subject, makes here as causative verb, use simple present tense. All document is object as passive and finish as verb 3.
Guys, I would like to explain about get, allow, and permit. Get, allow, and permit have a formula. It is subject plus causative verb plus object active plus to infinitive plus object passive. It is in active form. And the difference between get, allow, and permit is get convince or trick someone into doing something, and allow means that allow someone to do something, and next permit means that permit someone to do something. And go to the example. First, I get Rosa to lend me some money. I here as the subject, got as causative verb, Rosa as object active, to lend as to infinitive, and me some money here is as object passive, but me here as indirect object and some money as direct object. And next, the example is Mr. Johan allows us to collect our assignment tomorrow. And the next, Ade permits me to borrow her book. As a form, the formula of get, allow, and permit here is subject plus causative verb plus object passive plus verb 3. And the example first is she got her bicycle broke. And I want to analyze this example. First, she here as subject. got as causative verb, her as her bicycle as object passive, and verbs as verb 3. And next, my mother load her shoes used. And the last, Asrita permits her bag broke.
The next is active. The formula is subject plus causative verb plus object as active plus infinitive plus object as passive. The example is Sir Johan asked us to do all tasks in our book. Second is passive. The formula subject plus causative verb plus object as a passive and plus verb 3. The example is Asrita asks her bag broke. Asrita as a subject, as a causative verb, her bag as a object as passive, and broke as a verb 3.
Now I will explain to you about let and help. In active form, there are two formulas of let and help. The first is subject plus causative verb plus object as active plus verb infinitive plus object as passive. And the second formula is subject plus causative verb plus object as active plus to infinitive plus object as passive. And the difference of let and help that let means that allow someone to do something, while help means help someone. And for example of let and help, the first is she lets them borrow her book. I will analyze of this example. She as subject, let as causative verb, them as object active, borrow as verb infinitive, her book as object passive. And the second example is he helped that grandmother cross the street yesterday. He as subject helped as causative verb, that grandmother as object active, to cross as to infinitive, the street as object as passive, yesterday as complement. Guys, just let that have passive form, while help that have passive form. So the formula of let is subject plus causative verb plus object as passive plus verb 3. And the example is she lets her umbrella borrow it. I will analyze this example. She as subject, lets as causative verb, her umbrella as object as passive, borrow it as verb 3.
I would like to explain the last kinds of causative verb. It is 1. 1 here there just have passive form and there is no active form in 1. And the formula of 1 in passive form is subject plus causative verb plus object passive plus verb 3. And the example is the boss wants the proposal typed fastly. And the boss here as the subject, wants as causative verb, the proposal as object passive, type here as verb 3, and fastly as complement.
Guys, there is a note that you have to know in causative verb. That is actually let, want, and help are semi-causative verbs. But there are so many grammar books say that they were causative verbs. So in here, let, want, and help are not causative verbs, just semi-causative verbs. Thank you.